Baba's here again I can see him in his pink coat with his hands in his pocket. White Sadra pink coat, smiling and saying, Baba loves you all and stay happy. Baba Singh, I will very briefly touch, as I said, on the essence of Gita. Primarily, the teachings in the Gita are very, very profound, very elaborately explained. But in gist, it talks about life's lessons, right? On your day to day existence, your relationships, on your karmic bonding, karmic cycles, how you conduct yourself, what are the lessons to be learned at the family front, friendships, so on and so forth. So these teachings, which is part of our very, very holy, called the Bhagavad Gita, basically talks about life as it existed, it will, and it will continue to exist. Because the basic foundation of our existence is love, gratitude, and relationships.
Love, gratitude, and
Relationships. If you see, the Gita talks about various relationships, right? And how these relationships bind us through our own karmic journeys, through our spiritual upliftment, through our own exploration and path of learning and understanding is gratitude. What it is to accept situations and experiences as is and to live in the moment and to move on from there. So it's all about where you start your journey from, how you build it on your life's journey at every step. What are your learnings? What you gain from it? What you lose? What you want to prepare yourself in terms of your existence in society, on how you conduct yourself, and how you take your journey forward to experience, to explore, and to bring about a change. So, the 18 chapters, or whatever, as many chapters are there in the Bhagavad Gita, everything is like a story. It's like a learning. Like every chapter sums up something to tell you on how to conduct yourself or how to bring about a change which is only for your own betterment and for the betterment of society. And hence, the learnings or the teachings that are there in the Gita was valid and applicable to existence in the past, to your existence today, and for what it will be in the future. And for that, grasping or trying to understand at a very micro level is a very huge task because it's not very easy to understand or to interpret. But even if you have some idea of what the Gita explains, of what life is or how it should be, and even if you can build on it even to a little percentage and take it forward, it brings about a very profound learning. If one has read the Gita, it cannot be understood in one reading. It has to be read and reread and understand from your own perspective on how it makes a difference to your own existence or to your own life. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So, if you have read the Gita, what is your interpretation of the Gita?
It's a philosophy of life.
Exactly. And that life, as your as a journey as human being, it existed as it was in those days or in that era, and it is still applicable, isn't it? So the Gita talks about honesty, it talks about gratitude, it talks about forgiveness, it talks about understanding the different perspectives of society, of give and take, of reward and being recognized, and picking up the essence from there, seeing the application of understanding and applying the same to your own life. Would you agree to that?
Yes. At a very broad level, yes.
Yes. Therefore, I said at the micro level, it's very intense. But if you take a broader essence, then it makes sense that you need to move on with those principles. Do you want to add or build on it?
I just wanted to ask you, when you talked about Gita talks about relationship, love relationship, and I think you used another word,
Gratitude.
gratitude, yes. So, can you talk about relationship, where it is? Like, I've read Bhagavad Gita, so which relationship are you referring to?
See, in today's world, our interactions are very different, right?
Hmm.
At your workplace, with your immediate family, with the universe, with relationship with different countries, right? So we
Hmm.
cannot afford to have animosity. We cannot afford not to have the element of forgive and forget, forgiveness.
Hmm.
We cannot afford to say that our relationships can be very fragile and we don't care,
Hmm.
right? But it's all about building and making the most of what you already have. So one cannot be walking in and out of relationships, even at the work front. If you don't like anything, if you don't get along, with your immediate boss or your colleagues, you still try to make an attempt to make sure that everybody works in harmony, right? And likewise, the same thing goes in your relationships in your family, extended families. So it's all about life's lessons that you learn. You take it up and you build it up from there.
So my question was, which part of Bhagavad Gita talks about this relationship, and what relationship? Because I can't recall exactly where Bhagavad Gita talks about relationship.
Baba Singh, I'm talking about application of what you study from the Gita. I think even I can't sit and explain to you all the 18 chapters of the Gita. But what I'm saying that it is life's lessons, right?
Hmm.
Every chapter teaches you something on a life lesson.
Right.
So if you have read the Bhagavad Gita, what is your essence of the Bhagavad Gita is what I'm asking.
So many things are actually explained. It basically talks about the philosophy of who you are,
Why you exist,
why you
where you
exist,
come from,
where you come
why
from.
you here,
Yeah.
what is the purpose of your living,
Hmm.
right?
You're right.
So if you come down to these basics like who you are, where you come from, what is the purpose of your living, it's all about existing in harmony,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Do you agree to that?
Yes.
And therefore, if you have that spiritual understanding or spiritual bent, then you get that understanding that you're here for a purpose.
Hmm.
Your purpose could be anything.
Hmm.
But if you look at that purpose and a goal, right,
Hmm.
then you are working in that direction for that purpose, right? Is it making sense to?
Yes, maybe you can explain little more by connecting it to the essence of Gita. Like Gita talks about, I'm not this body, I'm the soul.
Exactly. But even if you're a soul,
Hmm.
you're existing in a body, right?
Yeah.
And being in that body, you're here for the upliftment of your soul.
Hmm.
Correct?
Hmm.
So, what are you doing for the upliftment of your soul? It definitely says, yes, I am a soul.
Hmm.
So, the soul is coming back birth after birth after birth, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Till it comes to a state where it is completely nullified out of its karmic journey,
Hmm.
and then it doesn't carry forward any karmic impressions, right?
Hmm.
Then it is completely freed, and
Hmm.
it's at that soul level where it has no binding. It is not in bondage,
Hmm.
right? So even if the Gita is talking about saying that I am a soul, but that soul is existing in a body, right?
Hmm.
So while you're existing as a soul, you're in a body, you're captured in that body. And what is your journey from there? Your entire journey, soul's journey, is about spiritual development,
Hmm.
isn't it?
Yeah.
How? Is it not through compassion? Yes.
Hmm.
Is it not through gratitude in your heart?
Hmm.
Yes. Is it not through your own enlightenment on your spiritual path and understanding why you're here?
Hmm. Hmm.
How you're conducting yourself in society
Hmm.
as at a soul level? Yes.
Hmm.
Do you have the element of forgiveness at the soul level? Right.
Yep.
How you're relating with your family and relationships in an amicable way, or you hold grudges. Again, you relate at that soul level,
Hmm.
isn't it?
Hmm.
So, what are you? Yes, I am part of this universe, but I am existing in harmony with the universe. And that is the soul's journey. And therefore, the essence of the Gita is how you are moving forward with your own life lessons. Does that give you some perspective to what I'm trying to say?
Gita also talks about there are different paths to spiritual progress. The four paths Gita talks about is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana
Yes.
Yoga,
Yes,
Hatha
correct.
Yoga.
Correct. So,
So,
are you not building it up from the soul level with all of these? As I said, you're in your relationships, you're in your duty, right?
yeah,
Duty towards your family, duty towards your country, duty towards your fellow beings, right? Knowledge. What are you doing? You're enhancing your knowledge through your life lessons, right? You're gaining knowledge. Everything that you do, you're learning something. And that is knowledge which is assimilated, which is accumulated, gained, and again put into practice, right? Isn't it?
yep,
Then at the spiritual level, if you're so enlightened, if you feel you're so enlightened at that spiritual level, automatically you have connect with that spiritual. Universally, you have that connect at the very spiritual level, right? Where where your journey starts from understanding why you are and for why you will exist, and what is the purpose of your coming back again and again and again. You're completely free of every bondage. Gita eventually talks about being free, right? You agree to that?
yes,
It tells you lessons of completely freeing yourself from every bondage.
yeah, moksha
Correct.
and liberation.
And
Yeah.
liberation, right? So, how can you attain liberation, and why? Why do you want to attain that liberation? It's about correct at the soul level. The soul wants to be completely free, right? It does not want to carry any baggage or bondage because it existed in a very free spirited manner, and would like to continue in that free spirited, being a free spirited element, right? But that can only happen every birth. You have gathered those life impressions, those life lessons, wanting to consciously at the soul level free yourself from that bondage. Is that not the essence of the Gita?
And also in the 18th chapter, it talks about the five factors of getting results: the karta, karan, karma, and adhishtanam. And it says, but finally it is the daivam which gives the result. Like, is the
Yeah, so exactly.
is it it's in English it will be like the
Divine intervention.
divine intervention. Even if the karta means the person who is doing the work that is being done, the means that is being deployed to do the work, and the place or the location from where it is done. Even if all these are same, still sometime results are achieved and sometime the results are not achieved, and that's where the daivam or the divine or the God comes into the picture.
Yes.
Who bestows the results.
Yes, that's correct.
So that's the final chapter of Bhagavad Gita where it says it is He who gives the final results, and it is we who are supposed to do everything that is within our command.
Absolutely correct. So it's like you prepare yourself for an exam, right? And you go and write your exam. It is your teacher who marks on how well you have written your paper, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's that teacher who probably also gives you some bonus points, isn't it?
Yeah.
The teacher will give you some brownie points and says, okay, probably you're at a borderline, right? But I can understand from the sincerity of what you've put down on your answer paper, I think I must give you some grace marks. That happens, isn't it? So that push is given, right? So when that push is given, then the student also feels that, yeah, probably I was not deserving, but I'm lucky to have crossed over, right? And that gives the motivation to the student to get more serious for the opportunity that was given, build it up from there. But if that student did not understand that grace mark, then you remain where you are on your sthan, right? On the karma and karta, on the karan for what you were there. And then there is limited progress because that life lesson and understanding has not been accepted, or you've not attuned yourself to the grace that was bestowed on